Ladies and or gentlemen, ModzvilleUSA, back with another video. Today we've got a Wii Mini on the bench, along with an Electron Shepherd AVE HDMI. Now today we're going to be installing said AVE HDMI into the Wii Mini. So let's stop dicking around and get right into it. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the Wii Mini Hacking Discord channel here. I'll have an invitation link below. And there's two key points here. So the vias allegedly all line up for the most part, except for this guy. There's no via for this guy, so we're going to pull it directly from this pin here. Another issue, scrolling through the Discord, is 480p will not be enabled. It'll be 480i. Here we go. Frozen nuggets. So you connect TP 238 to 3.3 volts in order to enable 480p. So that is what we are going to do today. Essentially, we install it like a normal Wii. One via needs to be jumped straight to the pin. One via needs to be jumped straight to the pin of the AVE RVL. TP238 needs to be jumped or wired directly to 3.3 volts. And otherwise, it should be pretty straightforward. So let's give it a shot. First time doing this. Let's see how it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got my X-Acto knife here. So I am going to go ahead and scrape each of the vias that need to be tinned. I'm just going to go ahead and shut up and get that done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before we install the AVE HDMI, we're going to wire up what needs to be wired. So TP238 ends up going to 3v3. Now I believe I'll probably just pull it from the AV port, so I'm just going to leave some excess wire for now. And now we're going to wire to the that bottommost pin here on the left, so pin 64. And before I forget, my send-in services are open if this is something you would like to get done, or really anything you see here on this channel, except for software stuff. Any hard mods, just reach out, send-in services page, or shoot me an email. Links down below and on screen right now. So let us get this going here. Okay, so the AVE HDMI is going to come in here like, I'll line it up on the right side here, so it's going to be installed like right here-ish. Now thankfully, with the newer, it's not new anymore, but moving to the beige flex cables as opposed to the black ones that the older ones were, it is just way easier to line these up. We can see the silver coming through. So before doing this, I'm going to take my scissors and cut at the white line there. Everything to the right of that white line is this is all for the launch Wii's, the really early revisions of the Nintendo Wii's. We don't need that, so I'm going to cut this whole section off. Okay, I'm going to reflux, and before installing it, this is a pretty big solder joint. I want to get this much smaller so it doesn't push up on the AVE too much.
Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I did miss one via here from what I was going off of. Also needed to tin this guy. Whoopsie daisies.
ladies and gentlemen, the finer soldering work is done here. Got this guy wired up to the top here. Vias are connected. Now this guy I will likely tie to 3v3 here, as well as this wire here, which is this is 3v3 volts. So we're going to go ahead and tin this up. All right. Okay. All right, beautiful. I want to flux it up again. Just because I'm anal like that. A bigger trace here, so it's taking a bit more heat. Not the best tip, but we'll make it work. That's pretty hot. Okay, and this is going to 3v3. Huge thank you to today's sponsor, PCBWAY. If you're in the market for some PCB manufacturing, CNC machining, 3D printing, or even PCB design, PCBWAY has you covered. If you're looking for a fun soldering project, check out the shared projects section. There's a ton of amazing DIY projects to pick from. Just pick a project, click add to cart, good to go. Click the link below to check out PCBWAY. It helps the channel and it's greatly appreciated. Now let's get back to the show. Okay, for ground, I'm just gonna pull it from, I could just pull it from here. This is all one big ground plane. God, that looks cool. Got the joint creeping up. Very neat. Okay. So now that does a good job of locking the board into position. Much less floppy. I like it. Okay, so now both this wire and this wire are going to 3v3. So let's work that out. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we're looking for 5 volts. with USB. So we've got our ground pins. Center pins are data. One of the corner pins is 5 volts and one of them is ground. So that one's ground. So this guy's 5 volts. We've got a point here. And I found one down here, I believe. All right. Okay, we're gonna do the GameCube wire. Now this already has the SD card mod board installed, but same idea without it. It's just gonna go straight to the test pad instead. And there she is. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So we got the GameCube controller line going here. 5 volts going here. 3 volts here. Ground straight to the board. The one wire coming from the AVE chip right here. And then the hidden wire, the test pad going to 3 volts. That's underneath this board here. Now I'm going to be cleaning up the wiring. I use a bit of UV resin to tack everything in. But for now, this is what I got going. So now we just need to figure out where to mount the 2 additional boards here. And then it's time to test. Now I believe the standard mounting location will work. I'm applying pressure here. So the USB board is flush and I'm kind of pulling it back towards me to get it as flush with the USB-C port as possible here. Or the USB-A port, my mistake. This could certainly use maybe a bit of a modified daughter board PCB here for the Mini, but this might work. We'll see. Does seem like a good location for the USB or for the HDMI port here. So I'm going to go ahead, lock it in. And these are all anchors here. There's none of these actually have signals here. All the signals come from the connector. These are literally just anchors. Okay. I'm going to do a test fit off camera. See how it's looking. Well, all right. Got a little bit of interference here. That should cut it. Let me see. Now I've got a cat going buck wild in the background. Don't mind her. Okay, yeah, that's actually stupid perfect. So we're not going to need to modify the bottom shell anymore. Maybe the metal shielding if we want to keep the bottom metal shielding in. But that's pretty good. We'll just need to file an opening for the HDMI port on the top shell. But yeah, no, this is looking pretty good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the, we're getting there. We are getting there. Now, let's see here. So I already locked in the corners, lined it all up. So essentially you count 3 pins on the right here. And that's when you start lining up the pads. That's how I did it. And I went ahead and just locked in these anchors off camera. And we're going to tin these guys here. We don't connect these to the pins. And then we go get the ground connected. 3v3. And then, okay, ladies and gentlemen, quick little amendment here. For the receiver board, the AV port is not getting 3v3 on it, so we need to pull it from somewhere. So I'm pulling it from here, which is being fed 3 volts from the test pad, as we went over earlier. So there's a lot of wires going to this 3-volt pad. I'm sure there's other ways to skin a cat, but just to recap, we've got the 1 wire from the test pad underneath that forces it into 480p coming right here. The actual 3v3 wire feeding the voltage from the test pad there. And we're also pulling 3v3 here because that trace does not exist on the Wii Mini. So, yeah, that is the full wiring for this bad boy. Let us carry on. So we are getting there. This is all wired in, off camera, connected to these guys here. So this pad goes to there. This pad goes to there. Now all we got to do is connect the flex cable. And then we're golden. Alright, so go upside down like this. Blue tab on the bottom. And then over here, we shall do the same. Okay, and we don't want to cover any screw holes, so I think the move is to crease it like right around here. And if you have the SD mod, you're going to have this other flex coming. I'll have that go over top. Like that. Looks pretty good to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and temporarily wired up a GameCube port. Installing a GameCube port, this is going to be its own video eventually. But this is temporary. And this was solely to get into the OSD. Now, I don't have an IR sensor on hand. So, one thing that's annoying with the GC video kits is that you need to get into the OSD, and you need to come in here to output settings and enable DVI mode, and then you come back and you go to store, and the controller's tripping out. Pushing buttons I'm not pushing, but I've enabled what I need to enable, stored the settings, and we're good to go. Well, alright, I've gone ahead and put the top shell on to see where it collides with the HDMI port. So I marked it off right here. So I am just going to be filing out this area here slowly until I get a nice little hole here for the HDMI. So I'm going to go ahead and file this guy off camera, and we'll see what happens when I'm done. Well, alright. Filed it down. That looks pretty fucking good. Yeah. Pretty good. So I might be putting the GameCube port right here. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But yeah, we're good. Let's carry on. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the 480p signal coming from the Wii Mini here. Now, there are some prerequisites for getting 480p working outside of the hardware. You do need to have the stock iOS installed, from what I've gathered, and that is what you do when you go through the process of installing the SD card mod and the Wi-Fi mod from Web HDX. So you're going to want to go through that process first, or at least install. So yeah, that was already done on this console, and software side, something you'll probably want to look into if you haven't already done the SD card and Wi-Fi mod to your console. Otherwise, you'll just be getting 480i, apparently. But yeah, you also need to toggle it on, or at least I did in the system settings, the EDTV or HDTV 480p option. Not that complicated of a mod with all the information together. It's just kind of one of those things where it's a bit more insider. There's not documentation on the official Electron Shepherd website. So this video would not have been possible without the help from the boys of the Wii Mini hacking Discord. So shout outs to Phoenix, Janny909, Thylosis, and really just that whole community in general. There's very cool enthusiasts about this console that's completely stripped of a bunch of rad shit, and a bunch of rad people are adding that shit back to this console. So go check out the Wii Mini Discord. I'll have that linked below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope you had a little fun.